talk about the United States Postal Service. Lately, there's been a lot of controversy around them. They've been accused of slow delivery during the pandemic, which is to be understood, but while other companies are getting back on track, they haven't, and packages are showing up, sometimes weeks later. Tracking is not being updated. It just seems like things are not really going well. There was a lot of talk about them possibly going bankrupt this year. And then, of course, the controversy around mail-in voting, and whether or not we can even trust them with our votes. So I wanted to talk about this from the viewpoint of a small business owner, because I don't really hear a lot of small business owners out there talking about this. We hear from the politicians. We hear about them saying, the Postal Service, they don't charge enough for their services. They're charging too low. Why not have the same prices as UPS and FedEx? There are others, people who don't use their services, making really ridiculous claims that they're just irrelevant now. We don't need them anymore. We've got UPS and FedEx. Why do we need the Postal Service? I have an Etsy business, an Etsy shop, and I also sell stuff on eBay. And the U.S. Postal Service has been a massive asset. Reasons why? Because they are affordable. And by them being affordable, it allows me to sell low-priced items, and items that are lightweight. Now, if I was selling heavy items, then the customer would expect to pay more for shipping, and therefore I could use a service like UPS and FedEx. But there's a problem with that, and I'll get to that in a moment. With the U.S. Postal Service, the whole process is made to benefit me as a small business owner, which then benefits my customers. The first reason why is because I'm able to offer affordable shipping prices, which entices my buyers to buy. I can also offer free shipping if I needed to. With UPS Ground or FedEx Ground, I'm looking at maybe a week on average for my product to arrive to my customer. With the U.S. Postal Service, I'm looking at 2 to 3 days. And for the most part, about 98% of that time, they've been consistent with that. So what does that do for me? It gives me a 5-star rating. My customers love the fact that the items always show up faster than they expect. It happens almost every time. They're thinking, it's probably going to be a week before I get my item. And then it shows up 2 days later or 3 days later. That has been a huge asset to me. So I have a 100% feedback score, 5 stars after 8 years of doing this. eBay, I've been selling on eBay now for 20 years. 100% feedback score. And in most of those comments, people are saying the items ship quickly and fast. I know that I can depend upon the U.S. Postal Service to deliver these items that quickly. Now, yes, during the pandemic, there have been delays, some items showing up a few days later than expected. But we all know that that is to be expected because half the country, or most of the country, is shut down. That there are going to be delays because of this until we get back to normal. I make sure that I ship out immediately. It could be 4 a.m. in the morning and I'll get an order. And if I hear the notification on my phone, I'll go put that order together to make sure that it gets picked up in the morning by the post office. I have bought stuff from eBay sellers who will wait days and days and days before actually shipping it out. So that's what makes me different and what helps my business. And then what I just said, pick up in the morning for the post office. All I have to do, I have a system here. In the place that I live. I'm not in some factory or some shipping facility or some company. I'm right here where I live. And right next to me, right below me here, is a label printer. And right over here is my laptop. And then I have a program I use that connects all of my businesses, my websites and everything where I can ship in just one place. I put the information in. I hit print. My label prints. The label is processed. At the end of the day, once I have all my orders, I then schedule the United States Postal Service to pick up my items in the morning. But here's the thing. I don't really need to schedule them. I'm just letting my regular driver know, the person who drops off the mail every day, that there are going to be packages available. And I tell them where they are. And then when they come to deliver the mail, they know where those packages are. They grab them, put them in their mail truck. I don't have to go to the postal service or the post office. I don't have to wait in those long lines. I don't have to deal with any of that. And what does it cost me? Nothing. It's part of their service because they have a daily service. They're going to be here anyways. Now, if I had to specially call them in, then I would have to pay them a fee. I think it's $23. But I never have to do that because I get mail every day. They come here. And whether I got the mail or not, they're still in the neighborhood. So there's no charge for it. Now, if I did that with UPS, there are no UPS facilities near me. Nowhere. And I could certainly process the label online and print it right here, but now I'm going to have to arrange for a special pickup, which is going to cost me money. And their fees are pretty high. So now the cost to ship that one package is going to be a lot higher. And I don't always have a lot of packages to ship every day. Sometimes it's 1, sometimes it's 4, sometimes it's 7. When the pandemic started, I had 1 sale in March. 1. In July, which is always a slow month, I had maybe 4 or 5 sales. So with UPS, I could have pay them to come every day, whether I have packages or not, but I would have to pay them, and pay them quite a hefty fee. Or pay a separate fee every time I call them to pick up my items. Not only that, they want you to be there. So it would be a disruption to my day because I would have to be waiting there, and the driver is inconsistent. He doesn't come here at the same time every day. So I would have to stand by the window or the door because I can't hear the door knock and there's no doorbell here. So the door is far away from here. So that means I got to sit there by the door and wait for him to come. That's not convenient. That's not efficient for my small home business. And then there's FedEx. Pretty much the same system. Now FedEx, they have a drop-off at Walgreens. So does that mean I got to get in my vehicle every day and waste my gas money driving to Walgreens to drop off my packages every day? How inconvenient is that for my business? That's not the proper way to run a business. The U.S. Postal Service's delivery system is designed for people like me, for the small home business owner. And there are hundreds of thousands of us. Go to Etsy, look at how many shops there are. Look at Shopify. How many Shopify web stores are there? And WooCommerce. How many people are working from home? The U.S. Postal Service is a vital part of our business. So that's not the problem. That is not the problem. And their fees are fine. You know what? They go up every year. Every single year they go up. All of us sellers have to deal with that. But they're still more affordable than UPS and FedEx. And they're still faster. If I was running a business where I was selling larger, heavier items, and maybe had my own facility, then maybe UPS would be an option. But it isn't now. And for me as a micro home, small business owner, the Postal Service is what works. And for the most part, works well. Now, yes, they have damaged items, but they have taken responsibility every time. And it usually takes 2 weeks, and they pay for the damage. For the small amount of damage they've caused, compared to how many times my packages have shown up on time, I'm a happy customer. But here's where the real problem is with the U.S. Postal Service. And that's behind the scenes. And that's what people are ignoring. We shouldn't even be looking at their delivery service. It's fine. It's how the place is run. That's the problem. And if you have ever tried calling them, you know exactly what I mean. It is almost seemingly impossible to get through. They have all these different departments. And many times, like if you have to file a claim or deal with a claim, you can't even find that option on the phone. I tried calling 3 or 4 times the other day in order to deal with a claim I had put in, an international claim, which I will explain in a moment. And I had a real hard time getting through, even trying to find that department. It is so messed up It is so unorganized and just a total and complete cluster. Now, after going through their annoying menu, you will always be told, all of our agents are busy right now. If you would like a callback, we can call you in 1 hour and 45 minutes. Would you like to do that? All right, well, I don't want to sit here on hold. I've done that before, and that was a nightmare. You used to have to sit on hold for all that time and listen to the same music playing over and over again and give the U.S. Postal Service a chance. We'll deliver your packages on time. Go to our website and use Click and Ship. You give your phone, they already have your phone number, so they'll verify it. And so you're like, all right. So, for example, what happened the other day is a great example of what always happens with them. It was going to be 1 hour and 10 minutes. So, no, actually, it wasn't even an hour. It was 54 minutes. So, 54 minutes, I was expected to get a call back. So, they verify your phone number, you hit 1 to verify it, and they hang you up. And then 54 minutes comes and no phone call. And then an hour comes and no phone call. And then an hour and a half comes and still no phone call. Meanwhile, I've got things to do. But I need to make this phone call. I don't want to miss it. Because if I miss the call, I have to go through this again. I have to call them up again and go through all this nonsense. And then have to be put on the callback, which could be another hour, 2 hours long. It downright sucks. So you have to sit there and wait. So maybe an hour and a half, 1 hour and 40 minutes later, they finally call. Now, before I tell you how this phone call went, let me tell you what led to this phone call. Phone call comes through from the U.S. Postal Service about my claim. Now, I had no way of answering the phone, so they left a message. They said, they told me about the claim, which was something completely ridiculous, which I'll go over, and then said, if you have any issues, please feel free to call us back. I called them back using the phone number they called me from, and guess what? The phone number didn't exist. I couldn't get through. The number you're trying to reach is not available. It has been disconnected. So wait a minute now. Here is a call from an actual agent who calls from that number, and I have the ability to cut through all the nonsense and talk to this person directly about my case, and I can't call it now because they suddenly disable the number? What kind of business does that? So that's why I had to call them. There was no direct person to call back. Whoever called me and left that message, I could not speak to again. And you are, I don't know how many people work there, but I never get the same people. It's always someone different. No matter what. If you were to accidentally get hung up, you're not going to be talking to the same person. It's just completely inefficient and messed up how they do things. So, the phone rings, I pick it up, and I gave them my case number. The person who I was speaking to was friendly, but clearly was new at the job. It was like her first day. She had no clue as to what she was doing. She had no idea about anything. So, here's the case. Back in April, I had an order going to Germany. So I shipped my product to Germany. In May, it came back to me. There was a big sticker on it saying the U.S. Postal Service has suspended services to Germany and many other countries, or to this particular country, due to the coronavirus. Please go to our website and file an international claim where you will receive a refund for your shipment. So that's exactly what I did. I read everything that was on that page. It said, if you have the tracking number, if you can show these photos, blah, 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 you'll receive your refund within 30 days. This was May. May 11th is actually when I filed the claim. I never received the money back. I never got my refund. So then in July, towards the end of July, I called them and I said, hey, what's the deal here? And went through all the same crap, being, having to wait for a call back and then them calling back late. And then the guy I got was very monotone and unfriendly. Which is what happens a lot of times. You'll get a lot of unfriendly people there. So anyways, he goes, okay, what I'm going to do is I got to go talk to my supervisor for a moment. Let me put you on hold. I'm on hold for like 10 days. Finally, he goes, "Sorry for the delay. Are you still there?" I'm like, "Well, I'm dying now because I haven't eaten food or drinking water in 10 days because I've been waiting for you." But no, continue. So he says, "Yeah, I'm going to escalate your case. It's going to take about 30 days. I'm like thinking, 30 days? It's been months now. Where's my damn money? It's pretty cut and dry. I paid you to deliver my package to Germany. You didn't do it. You sent it back to me. I want my refund. Because I'm not paying you just to pay you. I'm paying you for a service that you couldn't do." It's pretty simple. There's nothing complicated there. There was no damage. There was no issue. That's the problem. Give me my money. I didn't say that, but that's what I was thinking. So I'm like, okay, I'll wait 30 days. Expecting in 30 days to receive my refund. I never did. So it's now about 6 weeks later. So I'm speaking to this woman. I'm telling her the situation. And here's the problem. The U.S. Postal Service made a decision on my case. Bring my package, the package that was returned, to my local post office, and they will scan the package, and then they will pay me the refund right there. Okay, so I've had a few issues with that. First of all, I didn't pay for the postage at the post office. I used a program online, a shipping program. It was done online. So how could the post office pay me when I didn't pay them? That's why they told me to go there, because they think everybody uses the local postal service. So when I explained that, the woman was like, oh dear. Okay, well, what program did you use? So the program I mentioned is actually a very popular program and huge among Etsy sellers. Did I just say Etsy? Etsy sellers. It's affordable. You get a little bit of a discount, but it's also convenient. I have both Etsy and eBay connected to it. So all I have to use is this one program, online program, to ship everything without having to go to all these different sites separately. And I can choose how I pay for it, if I want to pay through this card or that card or this account, whatever. You know, I'm not restricted. She didn't even know about the program. Oh, I never heard of that. Are you sure they're legit? Am I sure they're legit? Do you know how many Etsy sellers there are? And do you know how many are using this program? Of course, yes, it's legit. As a U.S. Postal Service worker, you should know about it. So then I explained the second problem. I'm like, why would the U.S. Postal Service think that I'm going to hold on to an item for 6 months or 5 months? I'm running a small business. When that item came back to me, I needed to get it relisted right away because that's how I support myself. That is my only source of income. That's how I pay for my food, my bills to live. I can't hold on to a package for this long. Are you people insane? So I wanted to make sure I didn't put the blame on her, so I said, I want you to tell whoever's making the decision here about this. And how can I, as a business owner, be expected to hold on to my products for this long? This is ridiculous. It's pretty simple. You didn't ship my item. I want my money back. That's my problem with the U.S. Postal Service. Not their delivery service. Everything else. They absolutely suck. They actually stole a package from mine in 2015. And I had to return a motherboard that had failed. But it cost me like $200 for this motherboard. So the company I bought it from made an arrangement. They were going to do an exchange. But I had to send in the motherboard first, and then they were going to exchange it for a new one. It was picked up from my front porch and never seen again. So the post office did an investigation, and I had to go through all this hell. It was actually worse than it was now. All of this hell of talking to all these people. They kept transferring me to different departments. Well, you need to talk to this person in this department. All right, well, send me there. So then I'd be put on hold for 2 days, and then I would get that person, and that person says, I don't know why they transferred you here. You need to go here. And then they would transfer me to that other department. And it was a nightmare. I was getting such migraines from dealing with it. And it would move me from place to place to place, different people. Nobody knew what they were talking about. Bottom line is, by the time they finally figured out what happened, they determined that a U.S. Postal Service employee actually stole the package. They traced where it had been tracked to and found that where it ended up and then where it disappeared. And where it disappeared, it should not have disappeared. And the only explanation was that it was actually stolen. So most likely someone opened the package and saw that it was a valuable motherboard, a valuable computer part, and stole it. So that meant that the US Postal Service had to escalate my case to the fraud department. But here's the thing about the fraud department. I, as the customer, am not allowed to call them. I have no communication with them whatsoever, not by email, nothing. Only they can call me. I expected that the fraud department would do their job and then I would get my refund because the package was insured. So I waited and nothing. I think they called me once, but when I said, could I have a phone number to call you back in case I have an issue or I need to look it up? No, we don't allow that. So then, after a few months of this, I call back and go through all the shit again and get led to the right department. And finally, and I should note too that every person I had spoken to was a son of a bitch. They were nasty, they had attitude problems, really grumpy and mean, just a lot of assholes. And finally, I reached a person who was really nice, and she was very polite, very helpful, actually gave me answers that nobody else would give. And when it came to the fraud department, she said, I really hate to have to tell you this, but pretty much when things go into the fraud department, they are never seen again. You're probably not going to get your money. That was 2015. The US Postal Service was responsible for shipping my package, and the US Postal Service stole that package and then did not take any responsibility for it and sent it to their fraud department. Well, that was 5 years ago. I have never received any refund for what they stole. I have never received a phone call. The case was simply erased. My thoughts is that there is no fraud department. It doesn't actually exist. It's a lie. All of it. It's a lie. They don't want to take responsibility. And therefore, they created this fake department. To me, there are two separate divisions of the US Postal Service. There is the delivery service, which I am a huge fan of. As I've said, they're affordable. My packages, at least 98% of the time, show up on time, or sometimes even earlier. They've been really efficient. They haven't really damaged too many of my items, and when they do take responsibility. So I have no issue there. And I don't think anybody really should be focusing on that part of that business, because that's not where the problem is. And if you are focusing on that, you're looking in the wrong direction. The problem is the inner workings, the customer service, the agents. By the way, here's a little tip, which you don't know this unless you actually do a Google search or search online. To get past all the menu bullshit, just say agent. They don't tell you that on their website. No, they don't tell you that. To skip all that crap. But it's there in secret. So if you say agent, you can actually get through all that crap and actually talk to a real person. But it's messed up. You know, if you've called a good, efficient business, that you will typically talk to someone right away, and if you're put on hold, it may be 5 minutes. And that you'll be talking to people who know what they're doing, and in the right departments, and this and that. And many times, everybody's experienced in every department, so you don't have to talk to all these different departments. The companies I worked for, the person who would answer the phones had to know about everything. And then if they had a snag, they could go talk to someone about it. Why doesn't the US Postal Service do that? It is so messed up. And that's where we need to focus. Their inner workings. It needs to be done over. They need a whole new system. They need to make it easy and convenient for customers to contact them. They need to have friendly people working for them, or train their people to be friendly and not be a bunch of idiots and nasty assholes and not be mean and nasty. They need to have people who know what's going on, who can answer your questions. And they need to get rid of the fake fraud department. And if they do have a fraud department, then I, as the customer, should be allowed to call them, because that's my package you stole. If a dude came to my house and got caught on camera stealing my package, and I sent that video to the police would find that dude and arrest him. What makes you any different? That you can get away with stealing my stuff and not get arrested for it? And not pay the price for it? And not even have to pay for it? Who the hell do you think you are? So let's look at that. That's where the problem is. And I really hope this message gets out there. We're looking in the wrong direction. Everybody, these people saying that the post office is irrelevant. That's total nonsense. Think about all of the small businesses and the micro home businesses that exist in this country. There are thousands and thousands of us. And we rely on the post office. It's not irrelevant. It's actually vital to our businesses. So that's what needs to be fixed. Their customer service, their inner workings, their departments, the fraud department, all of that needs to be completely overhauled. Make it more efficient, make it better, and I'll tell you one thing too. So that's my little rant. I urge you to subscribe to this video. I've got a lot of videos coming out. Right now I'm doing 2 new videos a week every Tuesday and Thursday. It's all kinds of things. There'll be rant videos, there'll be comedy videos, there'll be little movie shorts. I've got a whole series of nature shorts I put together using some video footage I had. So a lot of different variety. So be sure to subscribe and like this video. We'll talk again.